Beloved child of the Father, do you know who you are?
The beloved of God.
Yes, yes. Beloved of God, the Christ. When I speak in this evening of your commitment to discipleship, it is simple, yes, but it will take vigilance. It will take the commitment. Do not be deceived by the words of the ego that says, well, that was easy, that sounded good, sure I can do that. I'll get around to it next week. Next lifetime, perhaps. For that is what you have said many lifetimes. One more adventure. Father, just one more adventure. I will remember you. I will return home. But one more adventure. There is no judgment in that choice. For the Father does not judge. But as I have shared with you in this evening, you have decreed that you will arise up now in this lifetime and return home. You will come again to the conscious awareness of the Christ that you are. What we have spoken of in this evening is the conscious foundation for the ascension, for the awakening. What we have spoken of in this evening lays firm the foundation upon which all of the rest of the process, as you see process to be, of awakening is built. In every moment, be aware of where you are abiding. In every moment, choose for peace, for mellowness, for non-judgment of self, especially of self and others. Remember the directives I have given to you, suggestions to spend some part of each day in peace and solitude, in communion with all that is good and beautiful and holy, simple, restorative, in nature, and what you find to read, what you find to watch in your videos, your television, all of the dramas that you desire to watch and be part of, for you are part of them as you watch them. You are calling them forth. Allow yourself a gift in every day. Something that you give to the Christ child of you. Now would be a good time to share with others what you have brought as the gift from one Christ child to the others. Would you please?
Sure. Want to help me?
This is one holy child, seen as separate expression, perhaps, who has heard what would be gift to the Christ child. The simplicity of the bubbles. Beloved one, Yes. May I? To the gift, to the Christ child of you. No longer is it necessary to share.
All right.
There are two more. There. Of course.
One more.
Of course.
One more.
Have you received?
Okay, you guys will speak up. What happened? You want to
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Yeah, right. Ruby, is this what we saw? Yeah. Oh, yes. Now we have to say hi forever.
One more time.
One more time. There you go.
Yes. I salute the Christ child in her joy. Do you see the simplicity of the gift? Wow. That was a large one. Do you see the symbolism of the beauty of the Christ child? Whole, perfect. Yes. An expression of radiance in the colors. You bring forth such symbolism to serve you in your remembrance. Upon your morrow, allow yourself to blow many of these bubbles to celebrate the birth of the Christ. To be the disciple, yes, to the Christ that you are. To ask in simplicity and humbleness. To remember once again the Christ. Not the individuality that is recorded in your scriptures, but the oneness of the whole Christ, as you saw that bubble, the whole Christ. For that bubble contains all of who you are. Beautiful it is. What we have spoken of in this evening, because of certain time constraints, not mine, but yours, because of living in the world with certain schedules and certain things that need to be done. We have begun the level 1 of what it means to be disciple and the commitment to discipleship. In other gatherings, other times, when we meet again in this way, we will continue the remembrance of what it means to be disciple, which will take us to the place of remembrance of mastery. For indeed, even as you agree to be disciple to the Christ that you are acknowledging that you are also the Master. It is the Christ that you are. It is the Christ that you are that will guide you, that will speak to you, that will be most present with you, looking out through your eyes. When you walk out of this dwelling place in this evening, when you behold another one in the entranceway of the building, stop for a moment and say, that is the Christ who walks there. That is the Christ that serves me. And then know that what you behold in another is yourself. For in truth, you cannot behold anything in another if you are not that already. It would not compute in your computer. There would not be a related language. You know that one well. Yes. Now, beloved ones, I know that some of you have come with questions that you would ask. And because of the size of the gathering, I will not come around and greet each one of you in person as we have done in other times. But this does not mean that I am not with you. And it does not mean that I have overlooked you. For always we speak. And you are trusting now my voice. You have said, but it doesn't sound much different than my own voice. Well, of course not. I am you. I live your life as you live it. There is just a shift of focus that happens. As you allow yourself now in the days you call your future with a commitment to discipleship, as you allow yourself to look out with the eyes of the Christ, know that yes, those are my eyes, and they are also your eyes, coming very much into one focus. It has been for a while sort of what you would call the double exposure, where you have two pictures not quite in sync, one overlaid with the other, but not quite in alignment. Now, with your commitment to know the Christ that you are, every time you can remember, and I assure you it is very often, look with the eyes of the Christ and know those eyes to be mine and yours. And it will come into very clear focus. No longer a bit hazy, dulled, confusing, but into very sharp clarity. Not a clarity with tension, but a clarity that shows the love of the Father, shows the holy vision, and looks beyond the appearances. Now, which of you would have a question? Yes.
usually are doing it because they think they're right in doing it, but there's a lot of, disease and injustice that is occurring in the world. And I'm really grappling with this because the way I've always dealt with it was, always choose peace, which means lay down and let the steamroller run over you and forgive the person who was driving the steamroller. Or allow yourself to be crucified again, and just, offer it up or something. And I'm really grappling with how to handle issues, because the person, usually the person who's like being mean to you thinks they're right.
Yes.
They just have a clouded vision or something.
Yes.
And even when I know I'm absolutely right, should I just allow the steamroller to run over me, or should I say, no, I'm not doing it this time?
Beautifully spoken, beloved one. Every time that I know I am absolutely right, and they are absolutely right in their thinking, brings about, again, the reinforcement one more time of the belief in separation. Now the peace that you have spoken of, it is not a doormat peace. It is not the kind that lies down and allows the steamroller to roll over you so that you become the martyr once again. You have done that in this lifetime many times, other lifetimes as well. You have even been sainted. Yeah.
To be sainted, you better be.
Yes. The peace comes from the holy vision of knowing that there is much more that is going on than what appears to be. Yes, that one believes that they are right. They are acting from a place where they feel they must come from in order to awaken. That is the bottom line of what is happening here. With all choices, it is coming from a very deep, intense desire to awaken. And each one chooses what they feel will serve them in the awakening. Now, they may not call it by those words. They may go on choosing pain, criticism, judgment, anger, over and over again, until they come to the place of saying, perhaps there is another way. And they will pause for half a moment, long enough that the still small voice can whisper and be heard. For you, allow yourself the peace of the Father, yes. Allow yourself to ask how you can see the whole vision of what is going on. To behold it as the atonement, the awakening. For that is truly what is happening. And then to ask, what is my part in this? As we have experienced in this evening, go to the place of communion with the Christ of you. Pause and breathe. Return again to the place of the heart. Ask in humbleness, without prejudgment, what is my part in this? And then listen. You may see that what they do in truth touches you not. Seems true, but it is as the water that runs off the duck's back. That duck can take the water in and say, oh, I'm full of water under my feathers. Or the duck can let the water run off the back. Or you may see that they are calling for you to say words that will be as catalyst for a shift in perception for them. Listen, you will be guided. There are times when there will be righteous anger, not the emotion of judgment, but righteous energy, where you will speak, and perhaps do, actions that will be confrontive, can force others to have to stop and reassess what they are doing, as I did when I overturned the tables of the money changers. I was not a doormat peacemaker. Many times I saw sorrow and conflict in the world. It was all around me, as it is around you now. Many times there were judgments hurled at me. Harsh criticism of who do you think you are and why do you say that? Why do you teach that? If you are so wonderful, come down from the cross and save yourself. Harsh words. And I asked of the Father, I asked of the Christ self, of me, which is the Father, what is my part in this? And there were times that I stood mute. I did not speak, did not say, because the truth was self-evident. And I allowed the words to fall off the back as the drops of water off the duck's back. Did not touch me as the essence of who I am. I did not need to become embroiled in what they were offering me as opportunity. Other times it was given to me to speak certain words that were as a catalyst for ones to have to stop for a moment and reassess what they were doing, where they were coming from, how they felt about the situation. In those moments, again, I did not find myself embroiled in the emotion. I did not come from a place of judgment or human anger. That is why I have called it righteous anger. And yet the word anger carries with it implication that is not true here. But I did not have my small self, and especially not the large self, invested in the circumstance and the outcome. I followed the guidance. You will do the same. You have done the same. There have been times when you would have kept the mouth shut and not said anything. And there was such an impetus to speak words or to do something, even though you knew, quote and unquote, that perhaps the resultant effect was not exactly what you wanted. But you could not stop yourself. I will share with you, beloved one, that in moments such as those, what you were called upon to share was being called forth by the other ones. For nothing is done in isolation. Go first unto the place of the Christ. Rid yourself in that pause that restores you. Rid yourself of limited judgment, the judgment of the world, the habitual judgment, the judgment that cares what the outcome will be. Rid yourself of vested interest in it. And then ask and listen. If you are to do something, you will know it. If you are to say something, say it with all your might, with sincerity of heart, and then walk from it. If nothing is given to you to say or do, stand and be the presence of love and peace, loving especially yourself for the courage to stand and be that presence. For it does take courage. The world does not teach you that you can stand and be quiet. The world says, defend. But the holy child does not need to defend, for the holy child is holy already. And in the eyes of the one who truly matters, you are never judged. Does that answer your question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Beautiful experience. The last couple evenings when I was reading Jeshua.
You will want to speak up for the other brothers and sisters.
The last couple evenings reading Jeshua, the Personal Christ, as I was reading the book, it was so beautiful. I heard Judith's voice saying the words to me. It was awesome, and I was telling Holly about this yesterday morning, and she's had the same experience. It was most unusual and beautiful.
There is, as we have said, the one mind. You are tuning in. You are allowing all of the boundaries, the self-imposed boundaries of illusion, to dissolve into the no thing that they are. Even the voice that you hear this way, it is your voice. For know you that every one of you, as you have ears, you hear the sounds of this voice, each one differently. Not one single one of you hears the same tone, the same vibration, or interprets the same meaning. It is truly your voice that you hear. You think it is sound. That is but the effect. That is not the cause. The cause is within you. The cause is calling forth the very tones that you then take as catalyst for remembrance. It is the same with the books that you read. In truth, the books are nothing more than paper and colored marks. But they are as catalyst for your remembrance, and you are the one who has brought forth the book, created the language, the words that are there, for the very process of remembering how wonderful you are. It is your voice that you hear, but it is the voice that you associate with this experience.
It was a beautiful experience.
Yes. You and all of you are moving into the space of no longer knowing who you are as small self. You have had experience where you have asked, who said that? What happened? Where did that idea come from? You are moving beyond the self-imposed boundaries of who you have felt yourself to be. You are moving into the remembrance of the beautiful Christ that you are. Yes.
I've had some ones who are very dear to me suggest that I need to lighten up. How do I do that?
Beloved one, you are light itself. In truth, you cannot lighten up any more than you already are as the essence of you. And you are not doing anything wrong. But for your own enjoyment, you will want to return to that place of the child, as you did just a few moments ago, and play. For you are one who makes a study of things. Make a study of child's play. In other words, be the researcher as to how can I put into my schedule the play. Approach it from the intellectual first, because that is well known to you. And then as you do the activity, lose yourself in the activity and do more and more of it, and encourage the mate and allow the mate to encourage you. In other words, play as you have done as children. But there is nothing that is wrong with you. You are light itself. And so is the mate. Beautiful choice. You serve each other well. It is not by accident that you have come together and that you have walked the path together. There is much of divine design that you are rediscovering, remembering. In the years ahead, as you see time, you will rediscover the initial feeling that attracted you together, and you will build upon that as the children that you are. And there will be great joy in that. That will be as a gifting to the brothers and sisters who yet walk in darkness and do not feel that there could be anything good about life. You are as the teachers by the example of what relationship can be, how joyous it can be, and the discovery of revelations that come because there is shared experience. Share with this one your heart, as you have done in times past. Allow this one to share of his mind that is full of wealth with you as well. There is much of balance that you bring to each other. There is much to honor in each one. That is why you have felt attracted to each other on a level that is not even a conscious level. What you have done in coming together has been by grand design. It serves the purpose of atonement. You are great co-workers. You have often been together in what you would see as earthly projects that have brought the light and the love of the Father to this plane. It is the same in this lifetime. There is much that you will do together. And in that doing and sharing, you will find great joy. You might even become a bit light in the heart. Yes.
First of all, I've been waiting so long to thank you. Don't let me find what to do with myself.
Yes.
I'm so happy. And there's just been something that's weighing on my mind for a couple of days. I need to know if in vain or I've been sick or should I go ahead with my plans?
Yes. Go ahead with your plans. And it is not in vain, for again, it serves the purpose of the atonement. You have been releasing, allowing a lot of old baggage that has been carried many, many lifetimes to be sloughed off, released. You no longer need it. You are a new person. You have a saying in your world, and it is a very good saying, although you have some judgment about it, but to become a new person in Christ. That is what this evening is all about. That is what your commitment to discipleship is all about, to become a new person in Christ. You have been going through a very intense period of shifting, of releasing, of allowing changes to happen. There has been resistance in many areas, and yet the resistance has not held you back. It cannot hold you back. Even when you would dig in the heels and say, I am not going to do that, the heels are in the sand and the gravel, and you find yourself going forward anyway. No, everything that you have been experiencing is divinely blessed. It brings you that much closer to the place where you say, I am the Christ. Doggone it. I am wonderful. I am free. I am loved. I am all that I ever hoped I could be. And you are. So go forward with the plans. Yes. Know that you have much support and guidance and love in this. For in truth, you never do anything alone.
I guess it was called Sacred Intimacy with John Mark.
Yes.
And I feel a little bit of not sure about all of this because on one hand I'm getting that we should be so, experience the peace and the joy, and yet on that hand it was experiencing the pain that was never felt and the anger and the, and I'm wondering how these two connect.
Well, there are all kinds of languages, approaches, avenues that you call forth to serve you in the awakening. For some, it is necessary to sit with the pain, the anger, to feel it, to be aware of it, and to say, I am really into this. And then there is the feeling, I can release it. For others, they say, okay, I can skip that grade. I'm going to go from first grade to third grade, to high school, to graduate school. I've done all of that. And in truth, you have. You have suffered, greatly, greatly suffered. You have spent lifetimes when you felt that our Father sent you tribulation, temptation, all kinds of sorrow, and took away from you everything that you held dear. and you suffered in great pain and great anger. You have known the pits. In this lifetime, you have recreated some of those experiences as a refresher course. To say, okay, I know this. I know this well. I've been here before. You know what? I don't like it. For some, the avenue of sitting with pain and examining it serves the grand process of releasing it. For others, they say, okay, I know that. Now I leave it behind. I am ready for the good stuff. Bring on the good stuff. It is a matter of choice. In truth, it does not matter at all. But in time, as you are living it, it matters. Choose you where you desire to abide. Let no one say to you, although they will give you opportunity, that their avenue is of more value than another. All avenues have the same value, for they lead to the remembrance of home. Whether you go on 69th Street and you turn left on State Route 809, or whatever, that is your choice. What matters is you arrive home. Does that answer your question? Yes.
Could I ask you about the light beings I see in the sky all the time? since Vale, and I couldn't see it then, but now I can see them everywhere, and it gives me great joy.
Yes? You can ask me.
Is that all it's for? It's just to give me great joy?
Is that not enough?
It's a great thing.
Yes. That is what it is about, yes. To show you that you are not alone in this universe. That what you have hoped for, what you have envisioned within, can be manifest even in proof, quote unquote, in tangible, visible form. It is to show you, yes, that the ones that you call masters, friends, guides, teachers, angels, beings of light, are very much alive and well and present with you. And great joy there is in that. But it goes beyond even what we have spoken of. It takes you to the place of knowing oneness with all of your creation. For indeed, you are the one who has created even those clouds, the sun, the light of the sun, to shine through, to beam through the clouds. You are one with all of your creations, and you are one with the guides, teachers, masters, angels. For they speak to you in remembrance, and they say, here we are. Yes, we are true. We are as true as you are. Do you feel yourself to be true?
Absolutely.
Yes, and they are also. And there is great joy in that. Does not have to be heavy meaning, does it?
No, it's
No. It is the meaning that you saw with the bubbles. The symbolism and the truth that is conveyed in the beauty of that circle, that sphere of the bubble. Delicate, flexible, radiant, whole. Great strength. And not heavy at all. You did not have to sit with those bubbles and say, oh, what is the meaning of this bubble? You just enjoyed. As the beautiful child that you are. Know you, there have been many lifetimes when you did sit. Great seriousness. What is the meaning of this bubble? Well, the meaning is whatever you give to it. Yes.
Lately, I've been having some problems communicating with my family and with my parents.
Yes.
And that's causing some tension. I was wondering if there's any way I can get past those miscommunications.
Oh, yes. For there is a sincere desire on your part to have communication with them, to have them know what you feel, what you believe in, who you are, and to also have the communication of understanding who they think they are and where they are coming from. To have that bond. Sometimes words get in the way. Sometimes appearances get in the way. There is a prejudgment because of appearance, because of past behavior as it has been perceived. Not rightly, but as it has been perceived. What you will find beneficial at this point is to speak to them from your heart in what is called the meditation. Then, because that is not always quite so satisfying, to write to them. Not a letter that is going to be sent in the post, for it is perhaps a bit too soon for that. But to write to them what you would share from the heart with them, what you wish them to know. Pour it all out onto paper and write it. And then fold that up as a sacred communication and offer it to their angel, their higher self, the Christ self of them. Not the self of them that abides here in the world in judgment and would judge because of certain choices and appearances, but to the Christ self of them. You do not have to do anything with it tangibly as far as mailing it, but offer it to their Christ self. And the next day, when there is something more that you would write to them, take out another piece of paper and write and write and write until finally you feel that it is all gotten out and you feel at peace with it and you know that their Christ self has received it. For indeed their Christ self does not have barrier, as is seen in interpersonal relationships of individuals. The Christ self is open, receptive, loving, unconditional. Does not say you have to be a certain way, to make certain choices, to speak with the right words, to do even what they would say you should do. But the Christ self accepts and loves you. So write to their Christ. Write from your Christ to their Christ. In time, it will be possible to have the communication in the way that you desire, face to face. But there is yet some chaos, some energy that is jangling, that needs to be put to rest, to peace. So meantime, while this is happening, write to them, to their Christ. Thank you for that question. That will help many people. Yes?
You mentioned that we are in other universes at this time as well as being here.
Yes.
Are we also in other time frames as well as being in the past and future?
Yes, you know that well. Yes. There is what you would see as a future self of you, many of them in fact, and past selves of you, as you see linear time to be. Now in truth, time is not linear, but that is the belief that is held in this point of focus. So yes, you are expressing, even in what you see as this slice of time this evening, in what you would call past and in what you will call future, as well as other dimensions, other galaxies, other physical realms of expression and realms of non-physical expression. You can connect with these other selves in your meditation. Sometimes you will get quite seemingly unbidden, but you will get a vision of yourself doing something somewhere else. Perhaps a different costume, different raiment. And you will look down and the feet will have upon them the sandals perhaps, or something that is different than what you usually walk about in. That is you. You are connecting with more of the totality of you, the experience of you. Oh yes, I see, beloved elder. Yes, you have a request. Is it okay now?
Okay, and Joshua, my question is, I've been dealing with human rights with Amnesty International, and for the last 8 months I sort of laid back and left it, but now they called me back again. They want me to go to a conference, but I'm torn, since now I've committed myself to the discipleship, and doing amnesty work is more of, there's a lot of pain in there. I'm trying to lose that pain, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So my dilemma is maybe I can do both, or should I just resign it from the amnesty core group thing?
Already, beloved one, you know the answer to your question. You are not limited. You are not limited in anything that you would do. Of course you can do both. Being committed to discipleship does not mean that you are going to live a life of pious withdrawal from the world.
No, I've done that. But
yes, you have done that. Yes, you have done that.
But it's because of my experiences with amnesty. I know, I've learned a lot from what my family have gone through.
Yes.
And with the help of amnesty, we have been able to deal with the pain that we had to go through.
Yes.
Because the humanity helped me to also talk about it and to bring the injustices to the world. But if I'm doing it, then I feel like I'm devoting more to the negative stuff of the pain.
May I ask of you, what are you going to take into the situation? Are you going to take negative into the situation, or are you going to take the Christ into the situation?
I'm going to try to take the Christ
into
the situation.
Yes. Now, you don't have to do this. There is no referee, Father in heaven, that says, Florence, you will not ascend unless you do X, Y, and Z. You don't have to do this. What I would advise for you to do is to go to the place of peace within yourself. Ask of the Christ, what is my part in this? And if the message comes, to be involved with it yet for a while, then to take the Christ of you into whatever interchange you are engaged in. If the answer of the Christ of you is that you have already done what needed to be done, then accept that with peace, not with guilt, not with a questioning, well, I'll go back and ask again tomorrow to make sure this is really true. Accept the answer and go with peace. For you do not have to do this. You have already served in this capacity. And there is much of peace and of love that you have brought into this plane because you have been willing to serve in that way. So nothing more is asked of you. But go to your own Christ self and ask. With the law of the Christ? Of course. You can interpret it any way you want. For some, it would be the catalyst that would allow them to come into the awareness of their own Christ self. There are many who will follow the avenue of the intellect to come to the place of the heart that already knows. They will play with certain interpretations, certain wording, certain order of wording. And yet what is important is to remember that, yes, I, as Yeshua, am Lord, as you are. I am Christ, as you are. And that Christ was not my surname. My surname was Yeshua ben Yosef, of Yosef. And the appellation of Christ was given to me by ones who recognized that I knew my oneness with the Father. It could be the same, said the same for you. Roger the Christ. Ruby the Christ. For indeed you are. When you come to that place of claiming, I am the Christ that walks this plane, you may take for yourself the appellation of Christ. Beautiful Christ that you are. Going through a human experience, yes, but you are the Christ walking this plane. So in truth, it does not matter the order of the words. Although it is fun to play with, is there meaning, is there symbolism in this? What's the interpretation? Well, the interpretation depends on you. Yes?
Not a surprise to you that I'm
Of course not. The only surprise is that you waited so long. You are always good.
Well, thank you. Let me talk a little bit about what I would call therapeutic power. I wasn't sure where this question was going to go, totally. I recall an incident in my life, I don't know how long ago this has been. I was in a swimming pool, and I had been under the water, and I came up. And why it came to me then, I don't know. I thought, it is just grand to be alive.
Yes.
I don't want this to ever go away. Will I still feel the water? Will I have the sensation? Is the next side of life going to be as good as this is? And that's one part of the question. And this is, you can jump in anywhere that you should, or you want to.
It's nice of you to give me permission.
Let's stay with the swimming pool analogy. There's another thing that goes with the swimming pool, because I like water. Of standing on the diving board and being the child on the board. And I see myself as both child on the board and father in the water. And the child wants so badly to jump and says, you're almost there. Go, claim the power, outstretch your hand, take it, and go. And you're so afraid to take, you're already out there, you've gotten up in the board, you see the water, you want to do it. And as the father below, you're saying, come on, it's all right, you're going to like this, you're going to be fine. And it comes to do with that final nudging of go.
Trust, yes.
Let's take the step and go.
Yes.
And I've had many experiences like this, as you know, where I have come close to claiming the power, and fear yanks me back in.
Yes.
And says, this doesn't belong to you, you're in an area where you shouldn't be, you better get out of here because you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yes.
In all kinds of meanings, I mean that.
Yes, yes. Born of many lifetimes where you have reinforced the belief that there could be something that would be threatening to you. Seen as threat, first of all, to the body and the bodily existence. That is where that fear comes from. For the body cries out and says, save me. There's a possible threat. There might be cessation of this activation of body. And where will I be then? Well, you as the Holy Child will be where you have always been. Mm-hmm. The body, you will remanifest it. But the particular body in that instance calls out in fear. Life, yes, is worth living. It is great. It is a joy to live. That is truly why you have remanifested the physical form. It is to come and to be in joy of living, in joy of expressing. Not to be heavy, not to go through sorrow and pain. You have already done that. That is why you recognize it as soon as it comes. Whoops. You don't have to sit with it for a while and say, is this good? Does this feel bad? How does this feel? You know it immediately. This doesn't feel good. This is the pit. I don't like it. Mm-hmm. You know it. You've been there. Yes, the next room in the Father's mansion will be as joyous and more as you are willing to perceive it that way. For you and all of you in this room, the next room in the mansion will be even more joyous than what you have known this expression to be. You have already decreed it. You have already said, I want to get on with the good stuff. I want to know it here and now, and from now on. So yes, in the next room in my Father's mansion, there will be joy of living and expressing.
The corollary to that is, if you claim the power and you take it, which is, I'm at the stage where I can say, this is mine.
Yes.
And I own it, and it's my birthright. It's
yes.
who I am. And as I look at stories of your life in the particular lifetime that we're all most familiar with, of standing at the grave of Lazarus, and you know how much that story means to me,
Yes.
to say, come forth.
Yes.
What the ego begins to say is, well, then life's going to be totally unpredictable. If the dead don't stay dead and the living, if some miraculous thing occurs, I'm all thrown.
Yes.
Everything's out of whack. I've gone insane all of a sudden.
Praise the Holy Child. Yes. Who says the wording you have just used? That is the ego that says that. Watch out. Uh-oh, I'm not going to know what to expect. You're going to change all of this script on me. What page are you on, by the way? And the ego gets terribly worried. For in time, the ego is going to be out of work. Not only in the wings, waiting to come back on stage sometime. That is what you do with the ego now. From time to time, you send him off to the wings, you live and abide in heaven, and then you call him back in again. But in time, the ego is going to be completely out of work, completely out of belief, gone, no longer remembered. And so, of course, that is the part that cries out now and says, I want the structure that I am familiar with. I want security. I want to be able to know what is going to happen in this relationship. What is going to be down the road a bit for me? Is there going to be a love relationship for me? Is there going to be employment, a career that I really love to do, X, Y, and Z? All those questions. That is the ego. The Holy Child trusts and says, yes, Father, I will jump into your arms, of course. I know that always I am. Have been, always will be, I am. I am your child. I trust. I come to you.
The problem always seems to be, as the Christ self wakes up more and more, the ego gets to be more of a bully. I've got to try harder here because you're slipping away from me.
Yes.
And I'm going to yank you back. And I have noticed that geometrically.
In truth, what happens is that the ego does not become any stronger, but that you are more aware of when the ego speaks.
Okay.
Your awareness is growing. The sensitivity to it is being honed. What we have spoken of earlier in this evening as being aware in each moment of the choice, that is becoming clear in every moment, more clear as to where you are abiding. And when the voice of ego speaks, you recognize it. Other times in this lifetime, up to this point, other years as you call them, other lifetimes, the ego has been very much in the forefront of the script. But you didn't pay any attention to judging or discerning. You just said, oh, well, that's how it is, how it has to be. Well, I better listen to that. I know what's going to happen. Now you have said, I can discern between the voice of the Father, the voice of heaven, the voice of holiness. And I can also discern when the voice of separation and ego comes forth. So it seems to be intensified. It seems to have greater power as you claim more of your power. In truth, it is diminishing.
Yeah, and it feels like the righteous energy you talked about of saying, will you please shut up?
Yes, there are many times you will have to say that.
Don't. So you think that's a good approach?
Would I judge? Be your own judge. Yeah.
I really feel like I'm at a crossroads of my life, and like decisions have to be made, but I feel myself really being called towards looking at a lot of negative things like abortion and homeless and things like that, and I really feel that's where I'm being directed. But this crossroads keeps saying, like, you know, how, as one individual, do we change this, or do we change it?
It can only.
And abortion, all of these things, these negative things, there for us to see, to learn from. Do we change them? Do we be the ones who change them, or it's driving me nuts?
It has given you a great issue to look upon. Change can only come through you, even as you see yourself to be individual. That is how change comes about. You cannot say that this one has to change, and this one has to change, this one has to change, and then perhaps things will be better. But change comes from you, from within. You are bringing up all of these issues, all of the opportunities for pain, sorrow, and conflict, for man's inhumanity to man or woman, because you want to know holy vision. You want to know, how does it look from the vantage point of the Christ? What is my part in this? How does the Father see this? And what should I be doing in this? When I use the word should, it is not because you have to choose anything of greater or lesser value, but what is my part in this? Allow yourself, first of all, to be at peace with all of the drama. If you keep yourself stirred up, you will add to all of the energy that is already anxious, stirred up, whatever. Allow yourself to be at peace with it, first of all, and to say, which is true, to say, this is the avenue they have chosen to bring them to the place of awakening. Even ones who are in great conflict in the abortion areas, where there is seen to be one who is facilitating the demise of a newborn birth, and one comes in and says, from a righteous judgment, I will do away with you as facilitator. I will kill you because I believe in life. They have chosen that in order to bring them right up in front of what their judgment has been, as catalyst for them to see that what they have judged is what they have then done. There is much of clarity that is coming out of all of these issues. For yourself, allow yourself to be at peace, first of all, as the Father is. Do not judge from the place of human judgment that only keeps you in perpetuating the cycle of judgment. Go to the place of the Christ and ask, what is my part in this? Not because I have to do anything, for in truth you do not have to do everything. Everything in truth is in its own divine order, and will bring the Holy Child to that place of awakening in time. So you will ask, what is my part in this? And as there is guidance, then you will do or you will speak. Ask of the Father, ask of the Christ, how do you see this? And the Christ is not always the one who stands by quietly and says, oh, it's okay. Poor children. Sometimes the Christ is led to do things that seem most outrageous. Does that answer your question? I do not answer it in specificity because each issue you will want to take to the Christ of you, and then you will know your answer.
Like a crossroads that I'm really trying to pursue my art right now. It's like being pulled in this other direction, but yet I see them crossing.
Yes.
I see them as a crossroads. They're going to intersect in some of these, this beautiful thing, but you know, the human side of me says, hey, when? You know, when?
When you are guided to do it, yes. Keep on with the art. It is not, as we spoke to this one, you are not limited in choice. You can do all things as the Christ that you are. So it's not a question of either or. It is, as you have discerned already in your visioning, that they are coming together. They are not separate. They are not even what you'd see as parallel, never coming together. But in truth, they are going to come into that cross where it is going to be resolved. integrated.
Then there's another aspect that I really feel was given to me 2 years ago, and that's, a vision that I've had for 2 years now, and that is like, how does that figure in? It's really tough to just really decide where I'm supposed to focus. If I'm going in all these different directions, I'm not really focusing. And then the human side would appear and everything that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, and I beat myself up one more time.
And as you have discerned, that is the voice of ego that would judge and would say, I'm not quite good enough. I'm supposed to be doing something else, but I don't even really know what it is. Oh, poor me. How stupid I am. I don't even know what it is. That is the voice of ego that would judge. The holy self of you says, everything that I do is done in divine order for the atonement. That is the truth of you. When you have the feelings of being unfocused, allow yourself to go first to the place of the Christ. The place where you breathe, you pause, you remember the peace of the Christ, and you ask, and then you listen. That will bring clarity of focus. Then you may be directed to do 10,000 things, and that is okay. For in the remembrance and awareness of the Christ, you remember that it is not I, the small self, that does it. You can give over the heavy burden of responsibility to that Christ that you have just contacted and remembered. It is not I who doeth the work. It is the Father, the Christ self, who works through me. Then if you are asked to do 10,000 things, say, okay, Christ self, you ordered it. I will walk the steps. I will say the words. I will do it. Guide me, direct me, live through me. Then all of the heavy burden is allowed to fall off of the shoulders. That is very true. You have done that. And not you alone, but all of the brothers and sisters. You say, here, Jeshua, here, take, have it, please, solve this problem. And I say, okay, there is no problem. You say, that's not the answer I was looking for. We will take 2 more questions, and then we will need to be adjourning. Yes.
The other night, I didn't go to sleep. I was having trouble sleeping, and it was about 2, 3 in the morning, so I went down and laid down on the couch. And I wasn't quite sleeping, but kind of in the twilight phase. And this has never happened to me before, but I felt intense pressure, like in here and then in the third eye. And then I could feel just like sucking, and just I was being pulled out through the crown.
Yes.
And then I got scared.
Of course.
and as soon as I myself became a little frightened, then I was kind of just sucked back in as quickly. Now I think I know what was going on, but I was wondering if you could give me an idea.
Indeed you do, yes. It is the ego self of you that called you back in.
Yes.
It said, uh-oh, she is playing with dangerous ideas. She is playing with being more than what she has thought herself to be so far. And in truth, this is what you are doing now. You are allowing the boundaries, even of what you feel the physical body to be, the energy body that is around the physical body that you see with boundaries. You are allowing even that to be expanded and experienced. You know very well from previous lifetimes how it feels to go out of the body, leaving a bit of a pilot light on that keeps the body alive, and to go out of the body and to travel wherever you were called to be. You do that even now, after you have released the very close identification of conscious wakefulness here in sleep. You do that in sleep. You allow the feeling, well, it is not the feeling, you allow the energy itself to go, to travel, to experience the other dimensions that we have spoken of, to be in awareness in those dimensions, helping others, teaching others, traveling, whatever, having great experiences. And then just before the moment of conscious awakening into the physical body, you bring it all back in together again. Well, usually. Sometimes you don't. And you wonder, where am I? What's happening? What town is this? You bring it all back into the proper order that the ego accepts. And you say, oh yes, I am me. I know. I wake up, this is daylight, this is Tuesday, this is my bedroom at home or someone else's bedroom.
Never loses a sense of humor.
Allow yourself now what you have begun to experience. Do not judge the calling back. That is very normal in this place where you feel yourself to be, this process of feeling free to go, to know, experience your own energy. So do not judge when you go a bit and then you come back again. But play with it as it comes to mind, as you want to feel it. It is not something that you have to do that makes you more holy. It is not something that makes you more spiritual or elevates you above others of the brothers and sisters who have not had this experience. But it is something that is fun to play with.
After I did that, I was really disappointed that
Yes, the judgment.
Yes.
Yes, well, why couldn't I stay out there?
Yes, that's exactly what was going through. Where would I have gone?
And in truth, beloved one, when you allowed the sleep to come, you went where you would have gone. So it is not incomplete.
So the difference is with this is that I was awake then, so I was aware of what was happening when I went to sleep again.
Yes, that was it. And as I have said, it is not something that you have to do. It is not going to, but do not judge self. If you find that you go a bit and then you come back. That is part of the process as you were the small child and you learned how to walk. You lifted one foot and you thought, I'll take a step, and you found yourself, you sat down again. Okay. But that didn't keep you sitting down. The next thing you knew, you were pulling yourself up again and you were putting the foot out there. And before you knew it, you began to feel at home with the walking. It is the same with this experience.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Thank yourself, beloved one. Yes, there was a question here.
I have a mother who has Alzheimer's, and she gets more restricted. She's becoming very angry and frustrated.
Yes.
And it's hard to communicate. Her mind she doesn't understand when you tell her this is for your greatest good, for your protection. She doesn't understand. How can I communicate? Can I communicate with her higher self?
Yes. It is as we spoke with the other one earlier. Speak to her higher self, to her Christ self. At that place, she knows your love. She can feel your love. At the place where there is the specific focus of interaction, daily life, there is much of frustration, there is much of fear. For she knows there have been messages bubbling up from deep within her that she is approaching time to release the body and to go to another room in the Father's mansion. But she does not know how to release the body, so she will do it gradually. And she does not know what awaits her in another room. First of all, she doesn't know if there is another room. And she doesn't know what will be there for her. And she does not want to leave the loved ones, the life that she has known. So there is much of fear, which then is seen as frustration and anger, for she feels she is being forced into the choice to release the body. In truth, she is not being forced. In truth, she goes to a more beautiful room to experience what has been known, written about as heaven. Why do you have the writings about the description of heaven, how wonderful it is? It is because the next room in the Father's mansion is more expansive. It does not have to be. It depends on your belief. There are some who feel that the next room is going to be hell. For them, for a time period, that is what they experience. But the next room in the mansion, as it is believed to be heaven, is wonderful and beautiful. But she feels that she is being forced into that. She feels and looks out to others and says, you are forcing me, you are forcing me, the body is forcing me, the mind, it is not what it was. I remember when I was younger I could do all of these things, and now there is a vacancy. And I don't know where it has gone. Where has it gone? Well, in truth, it has preceded her. And she will catch up with it. Most, in a gradual process, most of her is already making the transition. The body, yes, is still functioning. It will gradually cease to function as she feels at a place of trust, of releasing it. But a good part of her has already gone. The angry part stays. So yes, speak with the Christ self of her. Love her. Tell her how much you admire her for what she is doing. For in truth, she serves her own awakening, yes, but she also serves all of the ones who serve her now. She gives them opportunity to love her, to be there for her, even the ones who will attend the body. She gives them opportunity to open their heart and to be of service that they could not do if she were not willing to go through this experience, which is not something that she would have consciously chosen. On another level, she has chosen it because of great love of the brothers and sisters. Thank her for what she is doing. She is being servant of the Father, even in what is seen as tragedy. Thank her for being the teacher. Yes. For she teaches many in allowing them to open their heart and to come again to that place of recognition of love. That is what service brings, is the opportunity to connect again with love. So what she does is not an easy row to hoe. It has taken great courage. It takes every day great courage. Speak to the Christ self of her, how much you admire her. This one is a grand servant of the Father. Now, beloved ones, it has been my great joy to converse with you in this manner, to be able to reach out and to touch, to tweak the nose, the beautiful nose, to look into the eyes and behold the Christ. Every one of you, the Christ. Wonderful future, as you call time to be, you have together. All of you, wonderful future, as you call it. For the next 3 years in your timing, you are going to see many miracles. You are going to see many changes, many upheavals. And the brothers and sisters, many of them will judge them to be tragedy. And they will rail and rant and call out to the Father and say, how could you inflict this upon me? And yet, they have called forth that very blessing in order to know their grand strength, their courage, and the life that they are, the life that is eternal. Everything that happens, give thanks unto the Father for it. For indeed it brings the sleeping child that much closer to wakefulness. Some of you, those of you in this room, those of you within the sound of my voice, are ones who have chosen to awake in gentleness. As you do in the morning, you awaken gradually. Others have chosen to be in deep slumber, and it will take a bit of the shaking before they come awake. No judgment in any of that. What is important is the awakening. But in the next 3 years of your timing, choices for you are going to be pivotal, because you have decreed that you want to know the joy of the Christ. If you had not decreed that, it would not matter how much sorrow and suffering, drama, etc. you were going through. But you have decreed that you want to awaken. You want to know what it means to be Christ. You have committed yourselves to discipleship unto your own Christ self. Follow the guidance of that Christ. It will not fail you. That Christ is not me, as you see individuality to be, and yet that Christ is me, as you see oneness that we are. For lo, I am with you always. It cannot be otherwise. We are the one holy child, expressing as the many, having many different adventures, many different dimensions and time frames, and yet it is the one holy child, coming home, awakening, claiming the Christhood. It is in great joy that I greet you once again. I look forward to the next time that we will be so gathered in this manner, and until that time, I bid you to remember the Christ that you are and how loved you are. So be it.
The love that you are